Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 52. It's Thursday, so we've got Jim F0123 Art on with us, and, yeah, let's get into it. May the 4th be with you, Jim.
And same to you, we're here on Star Wars Day.
Not only that, our 1-year anniversary of the cast.
Yes, I mean, what a perfect day for it to fall on. Couldn't it get any better than that?
That is the truth.
That was not planned.
No. How you doing?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
So, I think I've angered the gods a little bit.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. So, we got the show coming up on Saturday over at Double Midnight in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I was getting some of the, the goodies going.
Yes.
And we had a pretty severe malfunction with the T-shirt printer.
Yeah, what a shame.
And it's all part of it, though, those are the ugly parts they don't like to tell you about.
Well, that's what happens when you do manufacturing
and art
and you do it all yourself. Is you're going to have those issues where if something goes down, you're stuck with not getting the inventory.
And truthfully, you get more control, but it's a heavy price sometimes.
Yes.
But I was fixing it, right? I was working on it.
Okay.
And I accidentally squirted 99% isopropyl alcohol right into my eyeball.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
That was a very interesting feeling.
Nice.
Oh, my eye was blood red for
I'm sure
4
it was.
days. Second-degree burn, it said on mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not recommended.
So before we get into this episode, I wanted to talk about one thing that has been bothering me for years, but it's reared its ugly head this last year and a half. Saturday is not only Free Comic Book Day and our day of the Comic-Con, and it's also the coronation of one King Charles III.
Okay. Well,
what a fucking... It makes... Every time I hear anything about it, it makes me so angry. I don't even have a dog in this fight.
No.
But just here, $250 million for this.
Right.
We're in a recession.
Exactly.
People are having trouble paying their bills.
Yep. And
this sausage-fingered motherfucker is going, you know what we need? We need to have a party about me that's going to cost $250 million because it'll make everyone feel better.
Right. Of course. But you're going to get idiots that watch this shit and think that it's okay.
But it's not okay.
It's not okay whatsoever. But you're going to get people that are like, oh, they're royals. Go fuck yourself. What are you talking about?
It
means nothing.
It's nothing.
It's a figurehead with nothing behind it.
What the thing that bothers me about it is, right, they collect an incredible amount of money from their duchies, they call it, right? Which is they just own a shitload of land, right? So they're basically landlords. And instead of them paying for the coronation, they're using taxpayer money to do it.
Of course.
That is fucking insane to me.
Right, because because even though they don't have any political power, it's still looked at as such. And so, yes, they're going to fleece the public to pay for these type of events when they could, with ease, afford it themselves from money that they get for virtually nothing.
But it's not just that. The Bank of England came out and told the people, like, you need to just get used to being poor.
Right. Sure, of course.
And it's like, you can't say that to people and then go, but we're going to spend $250 million on a party for the king. Because, we got to stroke his ego. They shipped a fucking stone from Scotland to the UK, the Stone of Destiny.
Oh, okay.
What a stupid... look, I'm not shitting on people's traditions, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, these people... He was born into this role. He didn't earn it.
Right.
Right? He doesn't bring any value to anyone.
No value whatsoever.
And it's just insane to me that the English people are allowing this to continue, first of all.
Yeah.
And then second of all, like, like you said, who the fuck is watching this?
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, as bad as it is that the English people are okay with allowing it to happen, Americans watch it and celebrate it like it's meaningful in some way, shape, or form.
Well, just to be clear, 50% of the UK is totally against the monarchy.
Sure.
70% is against this coronation.
Okay.
So
that's good.
Listen, if 70% of your people are saying, yeah, it's not the right time to do this, maybe just have a small ceremony, you cuck.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. I'm going to ride around in my golden chariot. I'm going to put my fancy, suit on. I'm going to sit in my golden chair. You're going to put the crown on me with the stolen jewels. And that's it.
Yeah, and you guys, even though you don't think it's the right time to do it, are going to pay for it.
And you need to swear your loyalty to me.
Right, exactly.
I would just be like, you can eat a bag of fucking dicks, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just incredible.
Yeah, no, they're just that's just the most pathetic thing. And anybody that thinks that those people are worthy of anything and would spend 1 minute watching that fiasco,
they are human garbage. They are the absolute worst type of people on the planet.
Absolutely.
Awful. All right, let's get out of that. Let's get out of this funk. Okay, my eye's healing.
Good.
What have you watched?
So, a year ago, I stumbled upon this show that was on Epix that's now MGM Plus, all right? And it was a show called From.
Which is weird because, like, Amazon owns MGM now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not just all on Prime.
Thankfully, it's not. But I stumbled upon this show.
Yeah.
Watched the first season. Really liked it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there wasn't much, hype about, hey, this is definitely renewed.
Yeah, kind of a hidden gem.
Yeah, it was a hidden gem. So, you got all these,
That's the one about, like, the dead zone and there's, like, monsters and everything.
Right, so all these, people converge from all across the country to this one area.
Right.
Everybody stumbles upon the same thing that brings them to this town, and once you're there, you can't get out.
Yeah, it's got, like, the Silent Hill rules.
Yeah, and it's controlled by monsters. We don't know what type of monsters they are, but the thing is, they come out at dark.
Right.
And
it's your, your typical.
Yeah, it's like you can't, as long as you're inside a home,
they're not coming after you.
They can't. Right, you have to allow them in, or you have to be outside of some sort of whatever.
Yeah, kind of a vampire vibe or whatever.
Right, exactly. Okay. So it's kind of like a zombie vibe, kind of like a vampire vibe. We don't really know, right?
Right. We don't know what the monster is, but it has different rules that kind of apply, so it throws you off.
Yeah. So, the first season, you got a family that comes in to this town. They've been there for a little while. You're trying to figure the whole thing out, right? So they're trying to escape. They can't. They're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this thing.
Sure.
So the show season 1 ends with a bus coming in. So now there's a whole new bus load of people that come in.
Right, so now you have a whole new cast of characters.
Right, exactly. So season 1 ends, and for a year, it keeps everybody in the message boards and everything are like, hey, what's going on? We got to get renewed.
It's radio silence.
Right, and no one's mentioning a thing about it.
Well, the thing is like you said, it was Epix and now it's MGM Plus, so they're just focusing on, the transition, I guess.
Yeah. So, everybody was like, oh, yeah, no, you got to have a season 2. There, nothing has been answered.
Yeah.
You left it on a cliff.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, then all of a sudden, radio silence is broken. We got, it's season 2 has been greenlit. Cool. Almost a year has gone by. We finally get the first word that they're going to come back for a season 2.
Yeah, that's rad.
That's rad. All of a sudden, like a week later, the first episode for season 2 drops out of the absolute clear blue.
So let me ask you something. Do you prefer it that way, where it's just radio silence and then they go, well, it's greenlit, and then a week later it drops? Or would you prefer that they hype you up for a year?
No, I would rather know because
Okay, because you don't want to, like, you've invested the time, like, you want to know if you're getting any more.
Right, exactly. I put the time in to watch an entire season. I'm fully invested in this show and these characters. I want to know, that it was worth my time to do that.
Right.
And then you go a year and you think, well, that,
because
what a waste.
I know you don't.
It's only one season.
I know you're not like a big gamer or anything,
right.
but there's a company called Bethesda. It got purchased by Microsoft recently. And at the shows, what they would do is they would announce a game and then a week later it would drop.
Oh, okay.
Right? Most companies hype you up for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And these guys would just be like, well, we have this game. It's available today.
Yeah.
And there's something, really rad about that because you get the hype, right? And then you get to dive right in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also something to be said about the hype train. You know what I mean? Like, you get to anticipate it. It's exciting. It's coming. Like,
right. And sometimes you get, you'll get the ability to talk about it, like what may be coming.
Right,
maybe get some spoiler things.
Exactly.
Right? You can have that. And then by the time you find out when episode 1 is ready to drop, okay, you're prepared.
It's an event.
Right. It's an event. And, you're coming in with your theories of what you've talked about with like-minded people that also watch the show and are as invested as you are. And now you can see, is any of that going to come to fruition? Is it going to go in a totally different direction? But you're fully invested, and you've stayed invested. And and all the people that enjoyed season 1 they're going to remain invested until season 2.
Right. It's more about it being a brand than just a product.
Right. And then, again, when episode 1 dropped, I stumbled upon it by accident.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a trailer or anything.
No, nothing. No information whatsoever. I just happened to be flipping by the guide and I saw a headline.
Well, I mean, how did they get it out so quick?
I assume that because the people in the show are not aged, like you can tell that a year has not gone by age-wise.
Yeah, they pulled
they must have, already recorded it, but weren't sure that it was going to get greenlit to actually
they
show
pulled
it.
Velma.
Right, exactly.
So it is smart business practice to do that, right?
Oh, I agree.
Because if you do that, you're either guaranteed a second season, right? Like if it hits.
Right.
And if it fails, then you get to write it off.
Right, exactly.
That's the way that they should be doing it. The problem is it's hard to do that, right?
No, it is.
Like you're making people stay for extended amount of time. They're away from their families, things of that nature. But
right.
I think it's you got to give Mindy Kaling credit for convincing them to do it, even though her show was a dumpster fire. She's getting a second season because of it.
Well, we'll see if it actually gets greenlit to go forward, but at least, but I get the philosophy behind doing it that way. And especially, too, is you make, again, they don't age, no one ages up on you.
Right. The Stranger Things kids or whatever.
And B, if any, you don't have to worry about if someone holds out on a contract, right? Because the show's already recorded, so whether
or dies,
Right. So you have the season already in the can, and you're ready to go if you get that green light. So I get the philosophy behind it, and I think it's a smart business move to do it that way. But it's just like, again,
it's weird when you don't, like, if you already had it in the can, like, you should tell people more is coming.
Right. I mean, again, you might not have got the green light as of yet, but couldn't you at least, mention something, or when you did get the green light, hey, have this big thing where episode 1 of season 2 premieres and make it something that everybody can make sure that they're there to see. Again, I didn't catch episode 1 on the day it dropped because I didn't know that it dropped.
I think it's tricky now because a lot of these companies are having to kind of pivot with how they market.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have cable. So you're not, and I'm going to be honest, I don't watch commercials.
Sure.
I'll pay the extra $3 to get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting me.
Right.
The only hope you have is if you drop a trailer on YouTube and it catches my eye.
Sure.
Or social media, maybe.
Yeah,
I guess I get some ads there.
Yeah.
But And I think a lot of these companies just haven't been able to pivot yet.
No.
Some have. You know,
Yeah,
I've seen some ads on TikTok and stuff that are pretty good. But, I mean, I'm glad it's back. You really enjoyed the first season.
I did. And, you know, again, I want the payoff. I want to know, or some of the, the questions answered.
Right.
So, I mean, again, we're about to get to episode 3 of the season. I don't know how many episodes it is, maybe 8 episodes in total, but I definitely recommend, watching this. The only thing is this is one of the ones that drops every week. It's not like Netflix where the whole season drops at one time.
It's like a
you
serial.
Gotta put in, you got to put in every week. But again, I think it's a really solid show, and I'm glad that it's back.
Sure, it's a little tricky that it's on MGM Plus because I don't think a ton of people are sub to that.
No, probably not.
But good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's nice to see fan favorite things kind of.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what about you? What did you catch?
So I caught a film.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Yeah. You know how I feel about one of the most masterful actors of our time, a Sir Nicolas Cage.
Oh, of course.
So I caught Renfield.
Oh,
I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
If you go into it, like Evil Dead, right? Like if you go into it just expecting a campy, fun movie, you're going to have a great fucking time.
Right.
It's gory. It's funny. They wrap the whole thing up in they treat it like a toxic relationship, right? It's really, really good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Nicolas Cage is fucking insane.
Of course, he's insane.
I know,
period.
But how
every aspect of his life.
In some. Nicolas Cage is such an interesting actor because you can take him, right? And if you have a director that knows how to handle him, you can get things like Pig,
right?
Which was my movie of the year for 2020.
Sure.
It crushed me, and his acting was superb in that,
right?
Or you could get like a Willy's Wonderland, which he doesn't say 2 words in, but he's great in it, right? I don't know if they just told, I don't even know what the direction was, because supposedly it's a direct sequel to the Bela Lugosi's Dracula, right? It is just absolutely insane. And every time he's on screen, you just want him to keep going, right?
Yeah.
They do cut away. There's a couple of subplots that are just, it's an hour and a half. It's not super long.
Yep.
There's a couple subplots that are just mediocre.
Yep.
But the humor in it is pretty good.
Yeah. Now, I believe this was done by Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead.
Oh, he wrote the screenplay?
I believe he put this out.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It has a comic booky vibe.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I heard that as well.
I would say the cinematography and everything. Now that you say that, I couldn't put my finger on it watching it, but it does. It feels kind of like a comic book.
Yeah.
But it's good. Nicholas Hoult does a great job as Renfield.
Yeah.
He's a solid. The kid's a solid actor.
Yeah, he's solid.
You had Awkwafina as the female lead, and for the most part, she's fine. I mean, there were a couple of weird scenes, but I think overall her humor really
she's
fit in
well. She's a little hit or miss, as far as how she performs. But
at the beginning, I didn't really care. I was like, she's off. Like, what is she even doing here? But then as it kind of got going and shit got weird, she handled that really well. And I was like, all right, now it's really funny.
I mean, that's the thing about this movie, and that's what everybody that I've heard is you have to go into it in the right mindset. If you're going
into
this,
you're not going to see Dracula 2,
right? Exactly. If you're going into this thinking you're seeing a Universal monster movie, you're not. That's not what this is. Even though, like you said, it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the Bela Lugosi one,
Nick Cage
we know it's not.
In and out of his accent,
right?
It's just you're going.
It's absurd. It's completely absurd,
and it's the best kind of absurd.
Yeah, and those make some of the best movies.
Oh, he is a crazy human being.
He is absolutely insane, and I don't think that he has the ability to not be Nick Cage every moment of his life.
I showed you that clip where he was doing the interview.
Yes.
And it's just I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, I don't know if I could, it just seems like he wakes up like that.
He does.
I don't think I could bring that much energy.
No, I think that he at one point figured I'm going to be a caricature of myself.
Yeah.
And then that's what I'm going to portray to the public.
Yeah.
And then obviously behind
like a
the
very
scenes,
Jeff Goldblum-esque.
right. And then one day it snapped and he doesn't know how to.
He lost the normal human.
Right. He doesn't know how to be the Nick Cage the person anymore. He's Nick Cage, this manic, crazy person.
He is a crazy human being.
Crazy.
And, it took place in Louisiana too, which was cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, we spent some time down there a couple years ago.
Right.
So it was cool to kind of see, some of the joints. I recommend it though. I mean, it's on streaming, so
I'm going to have to catch it for sure.
Definitely worth it. So let's get into the meat now.
Sure.
So it's obviously May 4th.
It is.
Star Wars Day.
Star Wars Day indeed.
And they've heard us.
Oh, I think so.
They've heard us for a long time. So. But I wanted to talk about, the Star Wars of yore, if you will. Because I want to, I caught a fan film on YouTube the other day.
Oh, okay.
Called Fallen Angel.
Okay.
And it was short, right? But it was just basically the premise of it was Vader going to Padme's grave.
Oh.
And kind of just having a bit of a breakdown.
Okay.
And I thought we could discuss, because I think we split on this a little bit. I don't think he ever truly lost his humanity. I think it got buried super deep down and it was all pain and suffering. But I think the fact that he did throw the Emperor off the pill, whatever the fuck it was, the balcony, to save Luke shows that there was still a man, Anakin was still there. And I always liked the stories, because they had the Vader comic books and stuff. And like in most of those, he's just the machine.
Right.
But I do like the stories when they do his, when they touch upon the humanity, when he comes out of sort of Vader and you can see traces of Anakin. And do you disagree that that's there?
I don't disagree that it's there.
Yeah.
Because clearly, Return of the Jedi showed us that it exists. Right. Right. So we can't deny it.
But I guess my point to it is this, right? Is that I think where we kind of we've argued about this in the past, and I think before he knew about Luke, do you think it was there then?
No.
See, I do. But I think it was just Padme. Like, I think that's all it was.
See, I think that when he was told that
he killed
she died because of him, and supposedly he did not know that the children were born,
right?
That he just decided, there's nothing left for me.
Right, Anakin is fully gone.
Right, there's no reason for me to show that human side anymore, that compassion.
Right,
nothing, because there's
Vader
nothing.
Killed and Skywalker. Yeah,
right. So now my mission is to take my pain and inflict it on everybody else. I am going to cause everybody the pain that I feel because of all the things that have happened to me. So I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to do it through emotion. I've taken the hit with the emotion. Now I've turned that emotion off.
Right.
And I'm just a killing machine.
Rage.
Right.
So I think what's interesting about Vader, like in the years where they don't really do a lot of, because we have a lot of stories and stuff and some comics, and but there's not a ton, obviously we had that stupid fucking Obi-Wan show.
Right.
But there's a lot of interesting, stuff with him. And I like to think that it's not something that he struggles with like on the daily.
Right.
But there are events, like going to Padme's grave would be kind of an event.
Sure. But how would he know where that is?
Well, I mean, I think it's weird to think he wouldn't know where it is. It's on Naboo. Right. So how the fuck would he not know where it is?
Right. But
I think it's more he's just afraid to go. Maybe not afraid, but it's just the guilt, and it's all too much to even go.
Right. But I guess my point is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know where it is, so to speak. You know it's on Naboo somewhere.
Of course it's on Naboo.
Right. You got to assume it's in the the city. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a whole monument.
Right. So how do you get there being who you are?
What do you mean? He's part of the Empire.
No.
They own the
I
galaxy.
know, but again, Naboo is
like a refuge.
right, and it's a rebel state, right?
Sure.
So you would think that if Vader was just going to land one of his TIE fighter,
because the thing is
that
there
would be attacks.
Yeah,
there
but
would be issue.
If a destroyer comes into orbit, right? And it's not blowing anything up. They're not just going to start an all-out war over it.
No, but what
and I'll take it even a step further. It's Vader. He can fucking come and go as he pleases.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, the military is going to be there, right? Because that's where they would be outpost.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Vader's TIE fighter just lands and he comes out and everybody's going to be like, oh, it's just Vader visiting Padme. We're cool with that. I mean, again, there's going to have to be conflict. He's going to have to fight his way to get there, because there's no way that people are just going to, the military of Naboo is just going to allow him to land and just do what he wants, because they're a rebel state and they're going to protect themselves.
Right, but I mean, I think you have to look at the politics of it, right? Kind of go into all of that. Like, people knew Naboo was a planet.
Sure.
And they knew it was a rebel state, but the Empire, was in charge of a good chunk of the galaxy.
Sure. I mean, I know they don't have the firepower to match up with them, but
you have to look at it like this. Like, Hitler went to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it wasn't an issue. Vader isn't just, a soldier. He's the number 2 guy.
Right. But
so if he wants to go, like, that's what I'm trying to say is, like, that you're not going to start. They would flatten you. Like,
no, absolutely they would, but it would cause some sort of a skirmish.
Some like diplomat. You think so?
Yeah, probably.
See, I think it would be very
diplomatic. But here's the thing, right? I didn't read the material that you're talking about, so I'm not familiar with the story.
Yeah.
But again,
well, I'm talking about him as a character.
No, but what I'm saying is he was told that he killed her, right?
Right.
How did he find out that in fact that wasn't true and that she is buried on Naboo? Like, how did that information come to play?
Well, I think it's probably more along the lines of, I think he always assumed he killed her.
Right.
But they buried, like, what does that mean? It's not like, oh, he killed her, so we're going to just leave her body on Mustafar? No.
No. I mean, obviously he knows that she would go back to Naboo to be buried, because that's where she's from. I think it's more of that. Like, I don't think he has any illusions that he didn't kill her at that point. I think it's more just, he finally, it would be hard to face her, right? See,
after all the atrocities.
But see, the thing is, right?
Yeah.
If you weren't told otherwise, right?
Okay.
Then I don't think that I don't think Vader would ever do that. I don't think he would ever
go to her grave.
No, I don't.
Yeah, but Anakin would.
Right, but I'm saying once he became Vader,
you think that Anakin was
it would have been
so
done.
Pushed down?
Yeah, it'd have been done. He would not ever
go
face that and have to deal with that and those emotions.
Interesting.
I don't think that he would ever. I think that he would shut that shit off, and it would be like, "Yup, I killed her. I'm gonna deal with that by." Taking all my rage on everybody.
I'm suffering, so everyone is suffering.
And I don't think he would ever show the compassion of going to her grave and sobbing over her, even though he believes he killed her. I don't think he'd go back to where they fell in love.
You don't think there's ever points where Anakin slips through?
No, not until that very end.
That paints Vader. But here's the thing: is like he wasn't as powerful as Palpatine.
No.
So there was conflict there, right? Because he hates Palpatine.
Right. Well,
he does. I mean, it's Palpatine put him on the path.
Right. But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Vader Anakin, right, heard the story, right, where
Plagueis.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the natural progression is Vader is going to take over for Palpatine someday, and he's going to be the Emperor, so to speak, right?
Sure. Well, he's going to have to kill him, right? That's how it.
Right.
That's how it is.
But then, when they found out about Luke, all of a sudden, Luke was the guy that was going to take over for Palpatine. Palpatine was looking for Luke to replace him. That
well, right,
was the
'cause
whole.
Vader was all fucked up.
Right. So the whole thing was, join me, take your father's place by my side. So all of a sudden, Vader's like, oh, I'm not going to be the guy. All of a sudden, now my son is going to be the guy.
So do you think that's what snapped him out of it?
I do.
So you think there's no redemption for Vader then?
No. I think
well, then why is he a Force ghost at the end? There's clearly redemption there.
No, there was.
Okay.
But I think that the only redemption came when he realized,
Well, he could still be the guy, but it would be at the cost of his son's life.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so he made, instead, all of a sudden, in one brief spot.
Yeah, Anakin came back to the surface.
Anakin came back.
Yeah.
And what happened. And then he did get redeemed. So at the end of the day, yes, because we know what happened, he did get redeemed because Anakin broke through at that when he was about to witness his son getting killed. I think that he realized, you know what? I'm going to,
Well, it's one of the last links he has to Padme, though, through his children.
Sure. And so I think when he came to the realization that he had children, the reason I keep
harping on Padme is because he never stopped loving her.
Sure.
Right? And if you look at the cycle of violence that transpired because of her death, that is a huge amount of passion.
Sure, absolutely.
So, that's where I kind of get, and I do like when they kind of, I don't want him to come full out, right? Like when he throws the Emperor off the cliff and then he's dying and he takes the helmet off, right? That's Anakin.
Right.
But I like the idea that there are moments where he comes to the surface and then he's pushed back down. You know what I mean? Like, because if there's no conflict at all, Vader's too flat of a character at that point. And I'm not saying he's sparing people, right? I don't think he would. But
right.
It's nice to see, some, the machine breaks a little bit and then there's a bit of human in there and then it just goes back to that cold machine.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and that very well could be the case. It's just...
Well, I'm curious. But that's not your Vader? Your Vader is just gone.
I didn't. Again, if we're just going by the movies that we've seen, right?
Well, no. I mean, So here's the thing: I'm talking because there's so much lore and everything, right? And I think we've both thrown Disney's stories out.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
That's not real.
Is not right.
No,
that to me canon. Is fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like that's not canon to me. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's as real as like him going to Padme's grave.
Right. But I'm just saying that I think that he turned it all off. Right?
Yeah.
He turned it all off. He had a single focus, which was conquering the entire galaxy. That was a singular focus that he had.
It was the only thing that was going to keep him going.
Right. And he was not going to allow anything else to crawl into his headspace to take him off that singular mission. So I think that he put all of that other stuff aside and was full on Darth Vader. There was no Anakin left. Anakin was dead and buried, and this was full on Darth Vader with one singular focus in mind, and he never deviated from that. I don't think that he would ever have gone to her grave. I don't think he would ever, bring that up with those emotions
just
and have that feel.
Yeah, it would make him weak.
Right, exactly. And I don't think he would allow himself to ever be compromised in that position. Because if that's the case, and she's... you know where she is, and you constantly visit that, or you constantly bring up those emotions that you killed her, and you have to live with that, then you're never going to be what you have become. You will always have that humanity in you, and when you're just out for a mission, you might have a little bit more of a difficult time carrying that through, because now all of a sudden those emotions could come into play when I don't think they did. I think that he was able to carry out all the missions he did because he did it without any emotion to hold him back.
So I will say, and I've shown you the clip at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, right? When he shows up, that is a very intimidating Vader,
right?
Like
absolutely,
he shows up and the mission is run. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, all right, I do dig him as kind of this overbearing, because the thing of it
like
is
the Rogue One ending,
right? And I would even say the fight between in Obi-Wan where he doesn't even use the fucking lightsaber,
right?
Like, that's Vader.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's tricky because in the lore, that's always been Vader, you know?
Right.
But in the movie, in New Hope and everything, these were just old guys. So, like, you weren't getting sort of the feel for how powerful, even in his older age, right?
Right.
He was still...
Yeah. But see, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Why, if he had emotion, then why wouldn't that emotion come through for Obi-Wan?
Well, because he blames Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but still, they were like brothers, right? At some point, you would think that would creep into his head as well. Like, this guy was...
So maybe I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like if
you let Padme in and then you let Obi-Wan in. Right, it's a slippery slope.
Right, exactly. So
but
anybody
the kids
that...
broke the armor. Like, as soon as he found out about them, right?
Right.
Whenever that was. And I think there's a big debate on, did he always know?
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
I would be very surprised. He must have known something, because he knew about Leia.
Right. At some point, he found out. I mean, obviously, we know that. We know for sure he already knew of their existence prior to their first... But... again, here's the thing, right? If he knew about... When did he know about Leia? Because in A New Hope, the way he treated her and the way he conducted his business...
was not like a daughter.
Right. Like, he did not know who that was, other than, you're a part of the rebellion, and I'm going to stop you at all costs.
Yeah.
That he's not looking at her in any compassion. Now, again, that's not the way it was made. Obviously, they're trying to throw us off, right? Because we can't give away the movie for what's coming up. So you have to play it that way. But let's just take everything on face value, right? I think, personally, he did know that was his daughter.
Really?
And he doesn't care.
Right. It's just shut off at that point.
It's, I know all about everything. I don't care. I have no compassion for any of you. I have a mission, and the mission is going to get carried out in the most...
So you think he was pure machine until the last moments of Return of the Jedi?
I think that when he saw they had the lightsaber fight with Luke, and Luke cut off his hand, I think it snapped him into...
just the pain of it?
Yeah.
Kinda.
I think that it snapped. I think that somehow something allowed Anakin to come through. And maybe it was...
Well, Vader's not used to losing.
Right. And so something happened where Anakin was able to... So was it part of the machinery where there was a way to shut that off? Because the machinery did it, and maybe when you cut his hand off, circuitry allowed Anakin to come through because there was something that was closing that off. I don't know for sure. I can't say what the reasoning behind it is, but somehow
you could even
Anakin
go darker.
Came through.
You can even go darker with it and say, well, if Vader's a slave to power, right? Well, Luke just beat you.
Right.
So he, your son is, the son has become greater than the father.
Right.
And it could have been as simple as that.
Sure. Absolutely. Again, whatever caused it, something caused it. Something caused that brief moment for Anakin to all of a sudden be there, and then obviously what transpired.
Yeah.
But I just think that, you know, he is pure, you know, personification of an evil overlord.
Interesting. So obviously, I'm hoping at some point Disney just sells it, because I would love someone that actually cares about this property to get their hands on it.
Right.
Would you want to see any Vader lore kind of fleshed out, or are you good?
I mean, you know, the thing is, I wouldn't mind seeing things like in, you know, Vader's castle. You know what I mean? And just I would
just him being a tyrant.
Right. I would love to see him carry out missions where he just goes in and slaughters. You know, just like Order 66.
Yeah.
He goes
there
in
are a few
and
times
just
where he gets fucked up, though. You know?
Sure. But I want to see him violently carry out missions with no remorse whatsoever.
Here's the thing. I think I agree with you, because I think that adds to the kind of the brevity of the character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's just you just look at, because unless you get into the lore, you really don't know how bad of a dude this is.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, he's a bad dude.
Yeah. You know, and I just think that if you can see him like in his castle.
Yeah.
And just, you know, here's going to be a person who's just alone, right? And but...
Yeah, you got a little taste of it in the meditation tank and everything.
But just like, I'm not, you know, I'm by myself alone.
Right,
but
no one walks beside me.
Right, and that's it. Like, this is who I am, and that's it. And then I will be here, ready, and then when you tell me what the mission is, I'm going to go and do that mission, and I'm going to carry it out 100%.
Right.
And then I'm going to come back here.
And be
I'm
alone.
And I'm going to just be by myself until we're ready to go on to the next one. I don't have friends. I don't have...
And I don't want them.
Right. I don't want friends. I don't want coworkers.
Right.
That's, you know,
there's been some funny stories in the comics about, like, people trying to, like, get to know him or whatever. Like, you read that one about the nurse.
Yeah.
That was, like, stealing his shit, too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he'd come back and have, like, some damaged circuits, and she would, like, fix it and then steal the things.
Yep.
And then she confesses her love to him, and he just fucking kills her.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what should have happened. But I don't even want it to get, you know, like, I don't even want that.
No, I mean, it's a little bit, it's kind of a dark humor sort of thing, you know? But I think it would be interesting to kind of see, you know, just flashes of Anakin for me.
Sure.
But I do agree with you that if they were going to make anything with Vader, I just want to see him full Vader.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, don't take the mask off.
Right.
Nothing. Just fucking you're Vader, be Vader.
Right. Exactly.
I want to move on to Luke.
Okay.
So the guy who plays Darth Maul's voice, you know, he came out recently on a podcast talking about how he doesn't like, he can understand that, you know, some people needed to see Luke that way, but he doesn't agree with the message.
Right.
And I think what's interesting, what's really, really interesting to me is that Luke's message was compassion and peace.
Right.
Right. And I can't imagine why you would want to sully that.
Right.
You know, like, why would she want to, like, if that's the message to young men, right? Why would you want to take that away from them?
Right. Right. Luke was never about gaining power.
It was never about anything except for, I'm a Jedi, you failed, I will not kill my father.
Right.
So that's Luke.
Right.
Right. And there was he wasn't perfect. He wasn't a god. He had self-doubts. You know, the cave.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He had self-doubt. He was whiny. You know, all of those
just
things
like how
are true.
Anakin was and everything. But
the only thing is, he was not afraid.
By the end of it, right? He understood his place.
Right.
I'm a Jedi. This is what Jedi is. You have failed Palpatine to eradicate the Jedi because I am a man of peace and I won't strike my father down.
Right.
Which ultimately led to Palpatine's what should have been demise, but, you know.
Right.
And then for him to come back, right, and want to kill Kylo Ren.
Right.
Like that. The thing of it is there's no scenario where that would happen.
No, he doesn't want to kill anybody.
No.
I mean, again, if it's out of necessity, it's
sure,
obviously
but I guess
you have to.
I guess my point to it is that, the way that they painted it in the sequels is that he had a Force vision of Kylo Ren being evil.
Right. And he was going to stop it before it could manifest.
Right. And I don't think Luke would have ever done that.
No, absolutely not.
Ever. And I just, that to me, like if you want him to be a grizzled hobo or whatever, like Yoda kind of because that's what they wanted. They wanted to make him feel like Yoda. Fine. I can accept that. I don't agree with it, but I can accept it.
Sure.
But he would never try to kill his sister's son.
No.
Never. He would never do that.
No, of course he would never. And the thing is, look, if he's trying to train him and create a new Jedi Order, and ultimately it fails because Kylo Ren turns,
right,
then Luke would accept that happened. Unfortunately, it happened. And if you want to say, okay, now I'm going to be that grizzled hobo and I'm going to go and do the Yoda. Sure, you could do that because you're upset that your nephew has turned to the dark side.
But Yoda did it too, right? When he was fighting Palpatine, he slipped and he lost the battle, right? And as a result, everything came to fruition, and he did. He banished himself. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't. Right, I don't agree with it, but I can understand that concept if it were to happen.
Right,
Luke would take the responsibility of Kylo turning,
right,
and he would go and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go off on my own.
Right, I'm heading to Dagobah or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
I'm going to isolate
was.
myself because of this.
Which is interesting because that's exactly what Anakin does. Is he just isolates himself?
Right, exactly.
It's just two sides of the same coin.
Right,
but yeah, it really shows the tragedy of it all. That what I think is interesting is that, Rey is a character being a Palpatine, right? You're talking about patricide. She's killing her grandfather.
Right.
And...
well, she's killing a clone of her grandfather.
Right, well,
but
whatever. I mean,
But, yeah.
Potato.
Right, exactly.
And it's just... it's incredible to me. Because, I like that God of War series, the games. And the message of that, because it's, it's based on Greek and then it goes to Norse. And a lot of those stories, these gods come to power through patricide, right? And the whole point of those games is to stop that cycle.
Right.
And we went from Luke is a man of peace, Palpatine failed because you can never kill Hope, you can never destroy the Jedi, to Luke tried to kill his nephew, patricide is good. And I'm like, these are terrible messages.
No, they are. But I still say the Rise of Skywalker would have, if it ended where she became Palpatine to take over and run the new empire.
You'd want more.
I would think that would have been the greatest ending that these sequel series could have had. Imagine.
Well, you don't kill Ben.
No, you have to.
Oh, you want it? You want full Empire then?
I want.
You want Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Ending.
Well, I want Ben to die like he did because he thinks he's helping, like he's turning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He thinks he's turning.
Right, and he gives his life force to save her.
Right, and then she just says thank you. Kills Palpatine because this is actually a clone of him. This isn't actually my grandfather.
Right.
This is a clone of him. I'm not going to allow this to continue. I'm going to stop it. So Ben gives up his life force, gives it to her, so that he gets, the treatment of being saved. She kills Palpatine and make sure that that's never going to come back again.
And then becomes the Emperor.
And then says, yep, I'm the most powerful being, and I'm gonna take over
but if
now.
Ben dies, right? Mm-hmm. In that scenario, who? There's no hope at that point.
Yep.
You want it to just end in darkness?
Yep.
You're crazy, man.
Yeah, no, I wanted it to end where the Empire won.
Really?
Yeah, because then you have something now you once again have to build that up.
Right. I mean, if she did go the dark side, even if you don't have the story right away, I mean, talk about you've created an incredible villain.
Right. Here's the thing, right? We know that Grand Admiral Thrawn is coming.
Sure.
And Thrawn is the mastermind behind resurrecting Palpatine.
Right.
Right? I assume at some point Thrawn probably is killed because he's no longer there, so I'm going to assume he gets killed.
Right.
So if you kill...
Well, Thrawn is not going into hiding. He's either going to die or keep doing what he's doing.
So I'm going to say, let's just say Thrawn dies,
yeah, Ahsoka
right?
probably takes him out.
So Thrawn is dead.
Yeah.
The Emperor is now dead, and there's no more cloning to be done.
Right.
Kylo is dead.
Right. The Skywalker line is broken.
Right, but when Rey stands at the end, how is another entity going to rise up and take over? Like, where is that going to come from now?
I think it would be...
You could, because what you can do is you can find ways to get heroes to rise up.
See, but that's the tragedy of it, is that instead of giving Luke his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
You chose to make him a hermit.
Right.
And it's like, yes, you literally could have had her become the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke had a child. And it doesn't even have to be a son. If you want to do the...
No, but he does have a son
in
the obviously in the non-canonized
right, it's not canon
novels
anymore. It was canon,
right?
And that's what I'm saying is like that's all you have to do is that Luke had a child in secret, and he's going to stop Rey.
Yeah, but there are so many other but there are still going to be Force sensitives. Yeah. That are being born.
Of course.
That can eventually rise up.
Right, but the Skywalker line's broken.
Sure, and that's fine. I'm okay with the Skywalker saga ending, and that's it. It's over, and there's somebody new to take over.
See, I think if the reason I struggle with it is because there's still a Palpatine.
Sure.
And if you're going to have a Palpatine, I think you need a Skywalker.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing that.
Well, I mean, Kathleen doesn't want it.
No. Fuck her. I mean, she doesn't want anything that works. But I'm saying, but if Rise of Skywalker ended with her becoming the Emperor,
yeah,
and the Empire wins,
yeah,
and there's almost virtually no one else from the Skywalker saga.
Oh, it's like the snap, dude. It's Thanos' snap.
Right, but the difference is you knew that the next movie that was going to get reversed. You knew that the snap was not permanent.
Right. And I mean, with this, it's just like, oh, you just ended this in darkness.
Right. This would be, but there was, again, we're not saying that there's an episode 10.
Right.
It may never.
That is that's a bold play.
I would have loved her eyes to turn red.
Yeah, it would have been incredible.
And she put
or yellow, right?
Or yellow.
Palpatine had the yellow eyes.
And put a friggin' hood over her head.
Oh,
a black
crazy,
hood,
dude.
And a red lightsaber shoots out.
See, here's the thing:
Man, that would have been.
We get so caught up talking about, the direction that Kathleen has taken Star Wars, but then just having a conversation like this, right? I love it. I love Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
That's what sucks about it. Like, yeah, we harp on, all of the awful shit that they're doing, but you have to understand the only reason that we do is because we're fans.
Right. And the thing too is, right, we know Kathleen Kennedy wants a female ultimately to be the lead.
Right.
You would have still accomplished that.
Right. That's the thing.
That still would have ended with a female.
Yeah, but she'd be the bad guy.
So what?
Listen, I'm with you.
And maybe there'll be maybe you do more stories, and maybe there's a redemption arc down the line, and maybe she eventually turns and does go good. You can always, that's a story to be told if you wanted to go that route. But the thing is, when she takes the Skywalker name and that movie ended, there was no satisfaction to anybody. No one found satisfaction in that ending or cared.
Here's what's crazy to me, right? And then we'll finish up. Rian Johnson dragged Luke's name through the dirt in The Last Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the final scenes of this trilogy, you buried Anakin's lightsaber on Tatooine.
Right.
That is the worst thing that you could do.
Right. And then, like I said, you're taking the name of someone that isn't yours, that you have no lineage to. Again,
after you just buried his lightsaber on Tatooine.
And it's like, everybody knows, but you're not a Skywalker. You're not a descendant of the Skywalkers. You don't have the lineage tied to it. So there's nothing, you're not connected. Once they're all dead, you have no connection to the Skywalkers any further. But you did have a connection to Palpatine that would always remain.
That's always going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It is very, it's sad, and it's bittersweet talking about it because I remember because we were talking about it before the movies came out. Right. And I remember how excited we both were.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I will say, even at the end of The Last Jedi, I was curious to see where they were going to go.
Sure, of course.
But just, it is sad. You know, as a fan who still cares about it.
Yeah, and that's the part, no matter what Disney does and all the bastardization, we're always going to care for the Star Wars pre-Disney. That's never going to stop.
Right. Well, that's why I always get on that high horse with like copyright and stuff. It's like it's out there. Like it belongs to everyone.
Right.
You may own it, but Star Wars belongs to everyone.
Absolutely.
But I get with that one, I think we'll wrap this episode up. What do you got, Jim?
Well, I mean, this will be out after, but this upcoming weekend, we're going to hit our con. We're going to do what we can to enjoy our first con, and then we're back to regular business, getting the art out there, getting the products out there. Check out
minus the T-shirts.
Yeah, minus the T-shirts. But again, check out the social media for some new artwork on a weekly basis.
All right, Jim. All right, guys. So that's episode 52. That's our 1-year anniversary for Catalyst Corner.
Crazy.
Appreciate everybody that's tuned in.
Absolutely.
We've had, I don't want to call it explosive growth.
Right.
But we've had some
steady.
Yeah, we're getting, we're starting to get to a point where we're competing with larger podcasts.
Yep, for sure.
But, let me know what you guys think. I mean, are you a fan of the TV show From? Did you see Renfield? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And what's your opinion on, Vader and Luke and the Star Wars of yore? All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.